I do agree. Like the impact was less than stellar, and yeah, with the shaker, I mean, you've got some options. You really do need something a bit more sacrificial. The Oracle's in play if you wanted that kind of core. They do go with the Witch Doctor, which really ties into that Visage quite well. Like you consider the team fights and the control that the Visage and Witch Doctor can pump out early. That is a lot to contend with here for VG, and they've got to be a bit careful there. Of course, it's going to be relatively easy for the Rubik to say steal ward, unless you do just toggle your heal a lot as the Witch Doctor. But there is a bit more value in that Rubik pickup with that hero pickup. Still, it's a solid one to have. Maintains the familiars with heal, just has really good presence to bring with this kind of control lineup from LGD.
Well, Vici into that third pickup now. Gonna start seeing some more cores come out, and they do go for that offlane Mars straight off the bat. Of course, Yang's Centaur was banned out as that last ban from LGD, so they'll take the Mars instead. Can be another decent way of dealing with the Visage familiars as well. That God's Rebuke does tend to do a lot of damage. We have seen this out from Vici Gaming before. It's one of those heroes that's remained very popular, especially in the Chinese region. They haven't quite stopped playing the Mars, and it has looked very strong in this region. So I can't quite blame them for that. LGD now, with hardly any time left, are going to have to start making some quick picks, and they go for the Elder Titan.
Yeah, that's again a hero we don't see too often, and it begs the question as to who plays what, right? Like, is this a poor Witch Doctor offlane? We've seen a couple of oddities like that. We could see the Visage mid with the core off. I mean, the possibilities are way open for LGD. It's a lot of flexibility in this lineup and a very quick timer as well. Like, they come online really fast, especially once they hit that level 6 mark in every single hero so far. It also tapers off quite hard. Like, there is a bit of a timer here LGD will have to pace themselves with, and VG, and they've got some decent scalability with their heroes, especially at Mars. Just a much harder core to have. They do
So
close it out with the Earth, so that, yeah, we see that banned out way more often, and it does slide true for VG.
it does. Will be available, but I am really kind of wondering what this Elder Titan's doing. I've got to be frank. It's Core Elder Titan I haven't seen in so long. It must be like... I mean, we saw RNG running that core Witch Doctor in the offlane before, so it could be... They could be switching it up in that way and just kind of trying to play mind games here with Vici Gaming.
Yeah.
I just can't remember seeing a core Elder Titan for a very, very long time. Unless you're up against something like the Meepo. Yeah, because it's just a direct counter towards Meepo if you run the core Elder Titan, but it's not like we've got a Meepo in the game right now.
Yeah, I think it is more likely for that Witch Doctor core in the offlane. The Visage is a bit more flex. You might see it safe, I think. In that case, that was Ame playing the safe Visage, but you got that possibility as well if you wanted it. Of course, mid is an option for Somnus. Still, really open. I do think VG's is much more straightforward to pull off. Like, you've got the Ursa Mars, you've got the Shadow Demon and Rubik to set up for the Mars, you've got great control, great team fight. The Ursa scales really darn well if you itemize right. And there's some really good spikes for VG overall. Like, they've got a smooth curve going into the late game. LGD, it's an explosive start. Like, they have to take control fast, get these shakers, blink on a good timing, continuously force the aggressive fights, melt the objectives with the Visage, with the sustain you get from Witch Doctor as well. That's going to be the conditions for LGD. And with this kind of draft, you are enabled to pick a very greedy pos one to use that space, because these 4 heroes can just play by themselves very early on.
Ban up the Monkey King, they'll ban up the Kunkka. Vici Gaming, last pick up now to finish this draft off. They are still missing that mid hero for Ori in that mid lane. How do you want to finish this off? You really don't know who's running mid here for LGD yet either. It's not an easy pick to be made here from Vici. But with 1 second reserve time, they make the decision and
Ooh.
Okay,
Oh.
Wind Ranger is going to be the mid pickup here for Vici.
Yeah, that is a strange one. Not something we see too often nowadays, and Quite frankly, I'm kind of looking forward to see what they get done with this. Like there is
10 seconds
a lot
remaining.
of potency here. Again, the Wind Ranger does have some
5
scalability,
seconds
has
remaining.
decent control now. Vici doesn't quite have a stable of AoE and teamfight control here. LGD, they close out their draft with a Mirana that we've seen multiple times. So again, the flexibility is there. It is the FY Shaker with X Nova on Titan. So we're looking at the Mirana Witch Doctor and Visage core. That is most definitely something you don't see too often, but LGD, they decide to shake it up a bit. We'll see how much they can get done. They have to play aggressive for this early lineup, and VG, well, their timings are much more traditional with their core heroes there.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this draft. It's cool. I like where LGD is trying to go with this, but it's one of those drafts where if you lose the lanes, it just falls apart. There's no kind of safety net of having a decent pos 1 kind of hero that can just keep farming and you can kind of just keep trying to create space. It really is a matter of if these lanes are lost, they may not have enough to be able to fight during the mid game.
Yeah,
Vici Gaming, I mean, they have the Ursa to fall back on. Like even if Ori has a bad game on the Wind Ranger, you can still pick up a few core items on her, and she can be a bit of a powerhouse too. But when you look at the Mirana, when you look at the even the Witch Doctor, they fall apart. And what else have you got left?
yeah, it's a sensitive lineup for LGD, an exciting one and a very unique one.
Yeah,
Let's see if they can. Let's see if they can pull it off. Like as you mentioned, lanes are going to be very important. If they find those lanes, win out, find the EXP, melt those towers fast. This is a lineup that can really get a bit too much early on. It can be hard to counteract while your cores are still farming on the end of VG. But again, you're asking for perfect lanes. You're asking for perfect aggression here, and it's just not too easy to
Prepare for battle.
pull up. As it does look like I need to reconnect here.
sure. Oh, I appreciate this. I appreciate both teams bringing out some really interesting drafts. I definitely wasn't expecting this mid Wind Ranger, to say the least. Certainly wasn't expecting the mid Mirana either. Chalice on this position 1 Visage. We'll see how much he can get done. Because last game around, we saw the Visage being quite effective, but that was a position 3 Visage, and well, they had Eurus to fall back on that Morphling. Chalice, all the pressure will be on him to really carry his team through this mid to late game. Of course, Somnus should be there as well in the Mirana, but you kind of wonder what kind of item build you go for with
30
Mirana
seconds to battle.
on this new patch. Do you go for the right-click build? Do you go back to the magic build with the Aghanim Scepter? There's a lot to think about here for LGD. There's a lot of river changes happening right now from PYW.
All right, I managed to reconnect right to see those river swamps. Of course, a lot of players have been really keen on maximizing those files. I mean, why not, right? You spent the money, you might as well show off a bit.
Yeah, I never end up using those things. Like, they always go to
Yeah.
waste every single battle pass that I get. It's good to see them
Yeah,
just using them up while they have the chance.
Yeah, I think the change to removing those charges have made a lot more people use them, which is nice. But still, look at this mid lane, Mike. Mirana Wind Ranger. Just
Yeah.
how long has this been? This feels like something we've seen. Haven't seen in 2-3 years now.
I don't even remember seeing it back then. It's definitely a strange one. Now, I was making the comment earlier on where I kind of wonder what item build Somnus does go for here on this Mirana.
Yeah, it's an interesting. Again, just the core Mirana is so old school. Do you go for the Ags? Do you go physical? I think it really depends on the tempo they want to set. I can see the Maelstrom maybe being an early pickup just to have more damage coming out, and maybe still going for the Yules for setup if he feels inclined, although you don't really need too much as you do have a lot of setup from everyone else, and the side lanes are also rather interesting. I mean, how often do you see Elder Titan with Visage in the same game in the same lane?
Not very often. It is upon us though. LGD, they are running this kind of laning matchup, which, I mean, whether it does much to Yang is a different story entirely, but for now, at this level 1 mark, it does a lot of damage, and oh, Yang, he's been caught out by that stomp, and Xnova has a lot of damage on him right now, and that should be first blood. Chalice will be able to take it on the Visage. Something you can't really underestimate, that level 1, level 2 timing of Xnova. He'll get a lot of bonus damage from that Spirit, and even bot lane. Eurus does end up going down on the Ursa.
It's that lane domination LGD's draft is really going to be having is kicking in, right? The early levels, as you mentioned, level 1 to, I want to say level 3 to 4, is when all of these heroes shine, and as long as they keep applying that pressure, it might just be enough to keep VG down just a bit longer in this laning phase.
Oh, I love that little play from FY. He just dives underneath the T1 tower, denies himself, and gets Eurus's courier at the same time. That was his stick charge, or rather stick and tangos being delivered for the Ursa. Not going to be there for another minute or so. Great little play out there from FY. I'm still very intrigued by this mid lane. I'm just continuing to go back and have a look. And as I do that, Chalice goes down up at the top lane. They do end up getting the Visage kill. It does appear to be a spear and a lift combination there with the Fade Bolt and God's Rebuke as well. Just all being expended. Xnova unable to help him out.
Yeah, this is a low point for Elder Titan. He is completely out of mana, so Xnova can't really help out too much, and that's one of the boons of this hero. One of the low points, it's just that you can't really do much when you're out of mana, and you don't have the greatest pool to spam your spells out.
He has a Mango there, but that's really all he's got for mana purposes. Old 11 going to throw the Melodic there onto Eurus down at the bot lane, but there's no follow-up to that. FY was being forced out by DY. Back in that mid lane, it is very even as well. The Mirana versus Windranger matchup, it's just a very stagnant kind of lane between the two. They have been harassing each other out nicely enough, but neither one really getting close enough to go for that kill. But Somnus may jump for this now. He does commit the Starfall and Arrow, and it will be enough. And he is able to get out of range of that tier 1 mid tower, and it's going to feel nice securing that Windranger kill.
Yeah, it's a really big one for the Mirana. Of course, just setting yourself up for that early start and slowing down the progression of Ori, which is great. It's still a fairly even lane. Does give Somnus a nice edge in terms of EXP. Level 5.5. Really good timings for him.
Xnova misses the stomp there on PYW. Bot lane DY now being chased down on the Shadow Demon. FY may just be able to get this kill. He's just going to chase him down, and he has brown boots up on that Earthshaker, so it's just a very easy setup there for FY. Eurus is having a bit of a struggle in this mid, or rather this bot lane. He's really unable to keep up, and the lane's constantly pushed out for him as well to make matters worse. So he's never really safe to go for any CS.
Yeah, this is a massive slowdown for VG, not just for Eurus, but all the other lanes are also just kind of even at best, which is not the situation they want to find themselves in. Now, LGD is not quite fully ahead, but they are finding that early start they want, and if their lineup's allowed to get the start, it can really lead to a much more explosive mid-game coming out from LGD.
Xnova going to go down up at that top lane. Yang able to secure that kill, and it was just Xnova trying to go after that boundary rune up at that top lane, and he wasn't quite able to get there without it costing him his life. I'm still having a look at Somnus to see what kind of item build he's trying to secure here on this Mirana. He's just, for now, he's just got the treads queued up. Not revealing much yet. Somnus hasn't really revealed anything either, but the Windranger item builds are much more standard as Ori going to TP down to the bot lane, goes straight after Old 11 on that that Witch Doctor. DY should be able to keep up vision here of Old 11. Ori does have another power shot, and it does land perfectly. They will secure that kill, though. Top lane now. PYW going to be in a bit of danger. Arrow will not land from Somnus. And so both Yang and PYW will be able to get out with their lives intact. The rotation from Somnus does not pan out.
Yeah, it's a bit of a waste of time. You're going to be happy on VG's hand, of course, find that kill. Something to note here, Mike. You take a look at Yang. He's rushing that Dominator on the Mars. That's definitely not something we've seen in a while, and Let's see just how much impact that extra keep he does get come out in the end as Eurus again down bot.
Yeah, he's in trouble. DY trying to help him out. Eurus gonna make a run for it. Do they have enough damage? Oh, they might, but they need some kind of stun out from FY. He's just waiting on that Fisher, and never mind, the coconut will be enough from Old 11. Eurus still really having a struggle on this Ursa. He's got the Morbid mask up, but he doesn't really want to leave the lane at this stage of the game. But top lane, X-Nova also goes down now on the Elder Titan.
It's not the best trade. That is still the support for a core, but Vici is at least matching that aggression pace from LGD, and even 5-5, less than 1k net worth lead for LGD, but they are getting that momentum up. Chalice has level 6, for example, up top, very close to his own Dominator, and that's a key timing for that Visage that we just saw in Game 1.
I wonder why Yang is going for his own Dominator, though. It's so unorthodox to go for on this Mars. I mean, in some weird way, if you can get, like, the Centaur creep, you can double stun them with Spear. So you can have some pretty long stun durations out with that Helm of the Dominator. If you do get the right creeps there for Yang. I guess that's one thing. But, Spear's going to come out, connecting on the Beside, but Somnus was waiting in the tree line, and he does help get the kill. And now they'll chase after PYW, though he'll turn around. Shackle is out from Ori, but Somnus still wants to go after this. He can't quite secure the kill. Ori now finds himself in a peculiar situation where he's stuck up top as that Wind Ranger, and they might just throw someone else mid. In fact, it's going to be Eurus.
Yeah, it's giving space for the Ursa to at least try to find farm. He is rushing a... is that a Mask of Madness coming out on Eurus? That's, again, a bit of a strange one, but considering the circumstances, this will allow him to at least farm safer and maybe even join some fights early on.
Chalice has been caught out. He is maybe going to get PYW with all the creeps, though no, he does go down. PYW still being chased by that dominated creep, but PYW looks like he'll be okay, and Ori does snipe the creep for an extra 200 gold. And all this gold for Ori really does start to add up as he is working towards that MKB build on the Wind Ranger. Once she has that up, if she has it early enough, it's quite hard to sustain yourself with that much bonus damage.
It's a lot of damage that can fly out from Ori, and you know, one thing with how Ori built, he skipped his ult for 2 levels, but it does allow him to really clear out those waves. So LGD, every time they try to close those gaps, as long as Ori's around, he can clear it out.
A stomp from X-Nova, not going to land. They're currently depending on those stomps to allow Somnus to get that arrow set up. Meanwhile, bot lane, DY was being chased down underneath his tier 1 tower, but he will TP back towards the tier 2. There are multiple heroes down at that bot lane pushing in that tier 1 tower, and it seems to be the game plan from LGD, just trying to get as many objectives as possible early on and really snowball out of control in terms of net worth. Mid lane, Ori, he'll be chased down now on the Wind Ranger, but he does manage to wind run his way out. DY is going to run straight into FY. Arrow, not going to land. He's just going to try and run, but no, you have the cast coming out there from Old 11. And they look to go straight from that tier 1 bot to the tier 1 mid.
Yeah, I mean, they have to play aggressive here. This lineup is just so explosive. You can't afford to bleed that momentum out. They are still caught, and again, they've got a lot of tools flying out. FY is just about to hit 6 as well. It's going to be a big one, but PYW does have the steal up, so got to be a bit careful of when you use that Fisher.
Arena up at that top lane. Just going to make sure that Yang can get out of there. They do deny off that tier 1 top tower. LGD getting rid of that gold for Vici, but now Somnus needs to be very careful. Ori is on the chase. He'll use the ulti straight away, just chasing him down, but Cask is going to come out from Old 11. And that'll stop the push, or rather the chase. But now the lift is going to be there on that Witch Doctor. Arrow flying through, and a great stop out from X-Nova. But Eurus is still on the chase. Power shot through. Old 11 trying to run, but the speed does connect. And now Eurus is a very awkward, peculiar situation. And he is going to actually jump into the trees, but Xnova is going to have the stomp. And that TP was not going to work out. And this game's just an absolute mess between these two. Even Yang, he's still going. Bishop blocking him up, but Chalice is going to chase him down now on that Visage. Another stomp flying out from Xnova. And Somnus can easily get the Starport. Now the Echo even being committed from FY.
Oh, yeah. It's, that early aggression for LGD is building up into a 2K advantage. And VG's trying to match that pace. But this is costing Eurus a ton. He's just not given areas to farm in. And he is going to have to rush that BKB. Once you have that BKB on the Ursa, all of this early damage does sort of disappear. Now, he's going to have a lot more durability in the fights. Kiteability is still going to be an issue. But we have seen Ursus kind of play around that recently, so it shouldn't be too big of an issue for Eurus as long as he gets that BKB timing at a decent pace.
The way this game's going, though, could be a bit tough to expect that from him. He really hasn't had any time to farm. He's so low in net worth. Somnus looks to be working towards his own MKB now on the Mirana. Arrow and DY will not connect, but FY is going to be there with the control. Although, great shackle out from Ori, and with the focus fire, he'll chase down FY. TP attempt is going to be successful. FY gets out of there scot-free, and DY is still not out of the woods. He will go down, and Somnus should be able to just get himself out of there. PYW joins to try and help out. Power shot doesn't connect, and well, PYW has no choice but to back off.
Yeah, it's a really close one. If they did find that kill, Ori would have been a lot closer towards that MKB, but LGD, just knowing the time of that control, backs off, and they still maintain an aggressive presence in this bot jungle. Like, they are not giving any breathing room towards VG. They do TP in, they smoke up though.
To the mid lane. PYW. It's a sentry ward down, but he got fished straight away, and now the stomp's going to come out. They have backup. DY, he'll go for the disruption on that Rubik. They're going to surround him, and PYW, he knows it. He's going to go up and just try to scout out for his team and get a Fade Bolt off. But he's going to die. That'll be the 12th kill out for LGD. As Vici Gaming is still yet to find their footing in this game, number 2. Looks like they're going to try again top. But Chalice gets shackled to his own familiar. Now the focus fire out from Ori, and he gets through all that Gravekeeper's cloak. He'll respawn the familiars to get the stuns off. But ultimately the chase will continue. However, Arena doesn't really land with Chalice, so they'll go after Old 11 instead, and they do secure the Witch Doctor. Somnus will come in though with FY. They have the Echo up. Yang being perma-stunned, and now he is almost certainly just dead. And Eurus, well, on the Ursa, I'm not even sure why he's here. He's really got no farm. Fisher to come out. PYW will take it, gets a lift off, and now Eurus going to jump back in onto Xnova. A great shackle out from Ori, but these familiars are just stunning them up constantly. Chalice will not leave alone the backlines of Vici Gaming. They do get Xnova, but Eurus, he'll be chased down now by Chalice. DY will get controlled up into an arrow of Somnus. Now they just jump back in with the soul assumption. They get another kill.
Ooh, it's really messy now for VG. This is when LGD's lineup is just up and running really fast. I mean, you don't even have a blink out from FY. He doesn't even need to really commit the slam at all. They've just got so much damage flying in. VG need to take a step back. Just give Eurus the space to farm. He does not need to join these fights. He can't do anything without that BKB. And even with that BKB, his damage is not amazing for an Ursa. So there's a lot more VG needs to do. Just play the slow game. You don't need to match LGD's pace. They're not too far ahead. Just maintain control in your jungle, and there will be room to grow here.
Well, they're still looking to go into that high ground of LGD. They want to invade the jungle, but Xnova is not allowing it. Neither is Old 11. Yang has the arena up and does drop it, catching out two. X-Nova going to go for the stomp, catching out two as well. Here comes DY with the perch. Chalice will get involved as well as FY will jump in with the Echo. He'll secure the kill onto Eurus by himself, and Old 11 is still being chased down here by Yang. Spear will eventually get that kill, and now Ori also gets X-Nova. But Yang, he's stuck in a corner. He'll hold the shield up the best he can. There's no helping coming. He's eventually just going to die here. Eventually, Chalice will be able to secure the kill on the Visage.
These are just not great trades for VG. Again, they're tossing Eurus in to the wolves every single time, and he just keeps dying. And that means your Ursus farm's delayed. You are giving Ori space, so the MKB's up, the BKB's next. Maybe they've just decided to go all in on Ori, just decide to ignore Eurus for now.
Yeah, this is a nice deny out from Old 11. Ori's going to make a chase for this, but no, Old 11, he's going to turn around. Gets the Melodict off, doesn't have the cask though, and that Shackle is going to be enough to secure this kill. Earth Splitter though from X-Nova, and Somnus will also be there to follow up with the damage, and they have plenty of it. Make matters worse, for Vici Gaming, Somnus now has the MKB up. So that win run is no longer a problem for Somnus to deal with.
Yeah, it is all kind of just crumbling slowly but surely for LGD, with a massive lead they had.
Nice arrow. Arena gonna be out, but again, just so many stuns to control up Yang in this Mars. FY jumps in. He doesn't have the Echo, so he can't commit that. He gets lifted up, but they have so many units flying at them. It's like, who do you focus on?
It's just not enough, even if you focus on one. Their cores are just not big enough to get the burst off, and LGD, again, it's just a 4K lead at 18 minutes in. It's just all of these heroes just snap online way too fast, and VG, no response.
Yeah, FY just sets up another. An easy kill out there for Somnus.
What the just happened?
And, well, it's looking like a very hard game for Vici. They're running out of space to farm in. Eurus is still trying to just get that Mithril Hammer to go into that BKB. We'll TP back to his triangle now and just try to secure that safer farm. If LGD can just keep this up, though, it's looking like an easy game for them. Like, you're almost at that point where Chalice has an Aghanim Scepter up.
Oh yeah, that's a scary moment once a Visage has that. Just so much more damage with that additional familiar. Just leads to a very hard snowball indeed. VG, I mean, they really just get some space out for Ori, get some space out for Eurus, and just find those key items. Find the BKBs, maybe give Eurus a little bit more beyond that for additional damage, but once you can sort that out, you ride through, I'd say, 10 more minutes of LGD's huge spike, then you can start answers.
FY, just, again, perfect positioning on that Earthshaker, setting up there for Somnus. And it seems like Somnus definitely won't need anything like a Yule Scepter this game. It's going straight into that BKB on that Mirana. Now Yang going to be chased down by this Astral Spirit of the Elder Titan, and with the familiar setup, it's just too easy. The Earth Spitter to fly in with the Death Ward out from Old 11. It's just way too easy.
Yeah, it's falling apart. They can't fight without the Mars as well, so even though they see all those spells committed, they don't have control without the Mars. They don't have damage without the Mars. So it's just more openings for LGD. Just get to continue to apply that pressure on the map. And all VG can do is try to hope that the
Oh, FY! Oh, what a setup onto Ori. That was just ridiculous. Just commits everything waiting for Somnus to TP in, and then he gets the arrow off in time. FY even getting the body blocks off at the end just to make sure the arrow would land perfectly.
Oh, it's VG, they're just getting styled on now as LGD, they smoke up. If they want to rush, it's going to be quick, but they want to pick off first.
Oh, it's FY. He's just all over them. FY, I don't think he was too happy after that first game, John. He seems to be playing very, very serious now. It is the FY Earthshaker after all. He is just everywhere.
Oh yeah, and that is why you ban that hero out. straight into the pit now. Doesn't take too long with all of the damage that LGD has. They will have to contest. VG, it's just, they don't really have the tools to contest.
Arrow, oh, DY, he ran into the arrow. Somnus gonna just charge him. He's godlike now on this Mirana. We're 21 minutes in. Somnus is 9-0-7. They get the Aegis now on Somnus to boot, so you've got that much more in this Mirana. He's gonna pretty much have enough gold for that BKB. But once they have that BKB up, you look at that Ursa and you wonder how he's even gonna take her out. Like, it's just... They just don't have any answers, Vici Gaming.
No, they really don't, and the map is really shrinking down. They just cannot have any areas to farm now, as LGD continuously maintains that presence. But it's slowing down VG way too much. It's a 9k deficit in LGD's favor, and they're not relenting. There's just no room for VG to find any space to grow. There's no pickups to find kills on as well.
Chalice. Unable to get in range with the familiars this time around, but he's 750 gold away just about for that Aghanim Scepter now. LGD looking to try and nail the final nails into the coffin here of Vici Gaming. DY gonna use that Glimmer Cape and just walk away from X-Nova. They're grouping up again through that mid lane. Chalice looking to set up there onto Eurus, but he's been baited in. Nice arena out from Yang with the spear, and Chalice will go down. Perhaps a little bit overly confident out from that Visage, just going in by himself. They do punish quite nicely, Vici Gaming.
Yeah, you've got to be careful here, LGD, especially with Chalice and the Familiars. You know, once you lose that hero, you also stand to lose the Familiars, and that's a lot of gold to turn over to VG. They do manage to find a tower for that, at the least. There is an objective win for LGD, but VG, they managed to secure that BKB on Eurus. So the Ursa has a bit more presence. Whether or not that's enough, though, is a different question.
They've got that Blink Dagger up on Yang now, so he might actually be able to initiate quite nicely, but they get the stomp off again into the arrow, but he gets disrupted up. DY will be there to save. They drop the Death Ward, but he'll blink out as well on the Mars. Now the Ursa jumps in, and what a shackle coming out from Ori. Straight onto Old 11 and Somnus. Somnus will try to leap out of there. He'll be alright in doing so, and now FY will turn back around with a Fisher. They do take down DY. PYW, the Stomp will connect. And, well, you got one kill. That'll be it. A 1-for-1 trade. LGD not looking to overextend too much, will back off.
Yeah, it's the smart play for LGD. They don't need to apply too much pressure. They know if they start bleeding out these kills, they'll miss their timing, and VG will just bounce right back in. They can't give those openings away. They just have to play smart. They do still hold on to FY's Echo Slam. They've got that tool available if they still want to force a fight out.
Yang doesn't have that blink up right now. It needs a couple more seconds. PYW gets a lift off onto Somnus. They look to jump in, but Yang is being controlled by those familiars. So they purge up Chalice with the focus fire, just jumping onto that Visage straight away, and they are going to be able to get him. Somnus trying to deal with them, but there's that arena jumping in. No, he'll just leap out. They weren't able to get the spear off in time. In fact, he didn't even have the spear available. So Arrow now going to fly through. Fisher out onto the Mars. Disruption will save. Somnus just trying to leap away. Yang is still being stunned up. It's just perma-stuns out for Yang. But LGD are unable to really start a big team fight that time around, and with losing Chalice, they don't wish to go any further.
Yeah, it's slow chipping away for VG. Like, they are finding a bit of a way to hang on to this game. Net worth gap at a steady 8 to 9k so far from LGD, but VG with these kills are finding openings. You look at Ori going straight for the blink, and we've seen him get some really great shackles. With a blink, it's going to be a lot easier to get that control out to LGD. So That's something LGD will have to be cautious about, or he has been setting up quite nicely here.
Well, LGD. Just gonna farm up that Radiant Triangle. Yang. Just take the front lines. The Aegis does expire. Ori is smoked up with Eurus. They're trying to move in. They've got that BKB up on the Ursa, now going straight onto Chalice again. The stun was out from FY, but they get the shackle onto the Visage, and Chalice does die. Now Old 11, he's been trapped up in that arena. Eurus right on top. They should be able to get this Witch Doctor kill, or can they? They got Ori though. Somnus able to kill off that Wind Ranger, and they're not able to actually kill off Old 11. They didn't have the dust. So the Moonlight Shadow just makes it so he survives through the arena. And now Yang and PYW are dead.
Oh man, it looked like a really good fight the moment they found Chalice, but it was split up one where LGD's positioning was a lot better, forcing VG to split up their own ranks, and when they don't manage to clump up and get the damage out to one, again, that distribution on the farm is just not great. They don't have enough to overwhelm LGD, and with that opening, LGD can just go and try to force out a tower. It is slower without Chalice around, but they can get some damage out at the least.
Yeah, that tier 2 gonna be under siege. Pings out onto Somnus. DY, oh, he's gonna have the Lincolns broken there with the Purge, so Purge is expended now. Death Ward being dropped from Old 11, just trying to zone them out. Yang missed the spear onto Old 11. And Ori gonna go for the focus fire, but now the Ghost Scepter gonna keep that Witch Doctor alive. Eurus trying to chase him down. LGD are able to just kind of juke and jive their way out of that situation, still maintaining that 12k lead. And they'll smoke up and try to counter-initiate now. DY might be the unfortunate victim in that mid lane. Ori. Oh, he's a much better victim to have. FY gets the Fissure off. Arrow is there, but he got the BKB off in time, and he's just going to use it to be able to wind run out of there. But Somnus is still on the chase. BKB wears off. He could only really rely on that arrow, and he didn't quite find an angle in time, so Ori will be safe.
And that does open up VG to maybe find a pickoff. Yang is trying.
Arena. Yeah, he's going to go mid lane, straight onto that Elder Titan. X-Nova, though, he has a Ghost Scepter up. So they get the stomp off, and FY just commits the Echo Slam, and they get Yang. These Ghost Scepters are just ruining the side of Vici Gaming. They're just unable to finish off any of these kills.
Yeah, that's going to be a consistent issue for VG. They just don't have any way of purging this off. In fact, that's almost everyone with a Ghost Scepter now. It's too much to handle. That's all of the squishy heroes with such an easy way of escaping. VG, they're nowhere near to even finding something like a bonfire in this game. It's just not coming out fast enough.
Oh, LGD, they'll just continue controlling up this this Radiant side jungle.
You look at Eurus. He is trying to save up for his nullifier. So that is the solution they're going to be trying to pull out. It's just, again, there's not enough farm to go around to find out the good pace, and LGD continues that pressure.
Yeah, mid lane it's going to be. Yang, he just jumps in with that arena. FY is going to be in that arena as well, but he doesn't seem to care. He'll fight back, but Somnus is falling very low to that focus fire damage. But Ori, unable to finish the job off, does finally get it, but now Eurus out of position. He'll try to fight back onto Chalice. That Visage falling low. That Gravekeeper's Cloak not going to be there to defend. Eurus still trying to chase him down with the Enrage, but they're just kiting him out. He's just not able to lock anyone down, and now FY with the Fisher once again able to help secure that kill, and DY also being caught out on the Shadow Demon. And Ori jumps in, Old 11, focus fire, no, the shackles did not latch. He's unable to get the kill fast enough.
Oh yeah, it's forced the buyback out of Eurus as well. LGD, they're gonna be satisfied with that. There is no Roche yet, but it's gonna be up soon. Gonna time it just right to take a peek there, and it's gonna be another objective they could easily go for. Nope, not quite the timing for Xnova to spot it out.
Oh, Vici Gaming. They'll just bide their time. It's getting harder and harder as time goes on for them, it feels like. You look at Somnus, he's just got so much farm on that Mirana. Well, they might go for another smoke. They'll hold out for now. Vici Gaming, they're going to go for a smoke first, but it is going to be into that Roshan pit, I assume. Problem is that dominated creep is going to make it very hard to sneak this Roshan away. And PYW going to run straight into Chalice, but there's going to be FY with the Echo onto 3, and well, they got the arena down, but they are melting now on Vici Gaming. Somnus going to chase down DY, and Yang, he's a bit of a sitting duck on this Mars. He will also die, and DY, he's got the disruption off, but it's not going to matter. He's the fourth one to go down. And that's it, they've called it, they've had enough. Vici Gaming cannot feel like they can win this game, and I don't quite blame them, they're so far behind. LGD, they just kept winning every little engagement they ran into.
Yeah, LGD, they just run a draft that comes online really quick, and VG could not stem the tide. It's got overwhelmed, so props to LGD. I mean, we've seen a couple of drafts every now and again. We do play a really fast game, and sometimes if you miss that window, it falls apart. LGD never relented, and VG, after what looked like a really good game one, have to be aware LGD can kind of turn it around at a moment's notice. So we do get forced into game 3, and it's been an explosive performance from both sides. Looking forward to see how that one unfolds.
It will be fun. Game 3 should be coming up very, very soon. It is MLP Dota and JohnXFire, and we'll see you once that Game 3 draft is upon us.